My name is Charlie Smith, and I'm the editor of Pancouver. I'm joined right now by Vancouver visual artist Kai Liu. He likes to call some of his more recent pieces painted prints. That's because he combines his skills as a printmaker and a painter in single pieces. Kai was born in Beijing and immigrated to Canada in 2009. Thanks for joining me, Kai.
Hello, Charlie. Thank you for having me.
And I want to start by asking about this term painted prints. How did you develop this technique?
Well, that was kind of a long story, but I'll make it short. Uh, because when I moved to Vancouver to pursue my art practice, uh, I started from Langara College, where I spent 2 years in printmaking studies. And uh, my major was called advanced intaglio and relief print. So I was staying in the studio for a long time. And even though I spent more time in painting, but still start 2018, I call myself a printmaker. And then when I bring my idea to my master's studies at MA University, uh, I want to promote myself as a printmaker rather than a painter. But you know what? When your practice started, I mean the research started, which is my art practice in the studio, I always kind of swing between painting or printmaking, kind of uh, confuse myself what practice I should focus on. But finally, I found this interesting topic that I put my energy to research. Is called hybridity in art practice, which is kind of you can hybrid art materials or strategies together, but also culturally you can merge or integrate different artistic culture. Uh, Same as myself, I integrate my Chinese painting background into this uh, Western uh, contemporary art. So what I did is I collage my printmaking pieces on panels or uh, canvases, and I make this called mixed media. Then I colored after the collage. So that's kind of calling this how people like us, immigration in Canada, how I merge myself into the society. Uh, and also this is more like not only stay in the material study, but also uh, a way to release myself into uh, this more culturally uh, exploration rather than only the artistic way.
Fascinating. And how would you describe your artistic practice?
I can see the theme in my most work are landed in landscape, but I have so many influences across China to uh, Europe to American. Uh, but automatically, I don't know why, I always focusing on landscapes because probably in Chinese painting, there's a lot of landscape art, but also I can I can tell like uh, the way I focus on art are most likely I will learn the materials from nature rather than I just I create the work automatic. For example, automatic drawing, like those abstract work. Uh, I call my art is semi-abstract, and I have to observe the nature first and digest, analyze the nature which I observed, and also modify it in my memory and present on my canvas. For example, I just finished two solo shows in this summer. So the first one is called Seaside Compositions. The second one is called Coastal Reverie. So it's all about my traveling in the West Coast and which were inspired by the seascapes. So they are capturing something from nature that inspired me, but also surprised me first. And also it's kind of recording the feeling from each moment. And there are many memories of shapes and forms, which is my visual language, working with shapes and forms. And also I like to use a variety of thickness and applying colors in different ways to create textures. Uh, Currently, I'm focusing on landscape. There's no guarantee I will change to some other, motifs, but my landscapes often aim to reflect order and disorder in nature. There's a little bit scientific uh, idea behind this, but I will explain that a little bit if we have time. It's called entropy, but also it is associated with that traditional Chinese uh, theory. Is called I Ching, or the changes of book. Sorry, the book of changes. Sorry about that. And but also it's at the moment of contemplation when I'm doing art, and make this composition is sometimes on my imagination that is puzzled by the my internal rearrangement.
It sounds almost like you talk about hybridity and how important that is to you. But I'm wondering if there's almost like a hybridity between Confucius and Matisse in France.
Oh yeah, that there's many. When you talk about those artists, actually, I have a list of my favorite
Well,
artists
who are your favorites?
in the
I'm
world. There are
curious to
so
know.
many. Yeah, for example, the close one is Richard Demoncorn. He's American artist from San Francisco Bay Area, and I love the idea. He started this movement called uh, Bay Area Bay Area figurative movement. He initial this specific style uh, kind of combine figurative element into his abstract expression work, which is insane in that time. And people got confused when the first time saw those work because originally they were abstract artists. So that was the idea started. I saw, okay, I was a representational artist for a long time. What if I combine abstract elements into my work? Never tried. And when I tried it, it's amazing, kind of opened a new door. But also another artist, the famous artist Zhao Qi, Chinese French. Uh, he's his work inspired by this oracle bone system, that ancient Chinese writing system. Uh, Most likely, you can see the evidence of calligraphy brush strokes in his work. Because this oracle bone system is about very early writing system in in human history, more like a drawing. You see mountains and you see landscape. You can read the shape as a mountains or river or sun or human. But he kind of studied or interested in this thing and adopted everything, not everything, adopted the idea into his abstract work. And also that is a way to abstract your work, not only by using the shape or your intuition, but also by the culture.
Interesting. And does Confucianism play any role in your artistic practice or how you approach what you do?
Uh, Confusion sometimes,
Hmm.
yeah, sometimes there are some moments when I focus when I doing my MFA studies, because everybody did pretty conceptual art, and some people do performance, some people focusing on installation. I think I can do similar things, but I haven't lose any interest in painting and printmaking. And I thought that was the good time to develop my uh, painting and printmaking uh, to be professional or deeper. But the confusion thing was, I always ask myself, should I, you know, remove my techniques from my practice? And because I saw a lot of art practitioners, they uh, kind of gave up, not gave up, just remove their skills rather than focus on techniques. And I have asked uh, our dean said, if I stay with material study, is that okay? And she said, no problem at all. So she solved the problem. After that moment, I didn't have any confusion anymore, and I can, put 100% my energy on the research of material and techniques. And also once I get into the space and started with thinking about nothing, only the materials and the techniques. Other idea, other ideas automatically came to me. For example, how do I uh, combine calligraphy or Chinese painting into my own painting practice? Because I learned painting uh, in China, which is not post-secondary degree, but also it just started with a community center art class. So how can I combine those? Confusion is good sometimes.
And as far as you're from Beijing,
Yes.
and I'm wondering, is there a school of art in Beijing that influences you, say, as opposed to art forms in other parts of China?
Uh, Not really. No,
Okay.
I born in Beijing, but uh, my early life in Tianjin, another city in
Oh,
China.
okay.
But my mom from Beijing, my dad from China, sorry, my dad from Tianjin, and I just stay in these two cities back and forth all the time. So the thing is, I believe in my 10 or 10, between 10, 11 years old, my mom sent me to the community center, and there's art class. And I started with traditional Chinese painting. So I believe those community-centered art classes are all the starting point for our student in China. And our schools are, uh, for example, uh, you like universities. So that's is about high-end post-secondary education. If you want to go further, like our Academy of Fine Art. So almost every city or province there is one. And but also you not only you have to study art, but also you have to study academic classes, for example, mathematics, English, and writing. Uh, there's so many things you have to prepare for the exams. So what I did was I started with 1 year that Chinese painting class, and then end of year, the teacher asked me, "Do you want to apply the Academy of Fine Art University?" I said, "Yes, why not?" But actually, I didn't know what that is. I was only 11 years old, right? So, and then they said, okay, if you study that, if you want to go that university, you have to study something else. You have to study Western drawing and painting, which is in the same building. There's another class, and they introduced me to that teacher, my favorite artist and teacher, Mr. Wang. And then my kind of not practice, but art study started from there. Drawing and painting started with single geometric shapes, a cube, white cube. Kind of every week I have to be there and spend 3 4 hours in the studio until I kind of they allow me to uh, move over to a little bit something complicated, like more objects, and then I can touch color. We started with gouache. We didn't have oil and acrylic at that time. No, there's the product over there, but too expensive for
Yeah.
young student. So that was basically a lot of our students from China, their earlier study in China, uh, had a similar standard from there. But but the thing is, when I had my show in the summer, they asked me, "Oh, we host a lot of Chinese artists this year," and so basically, I don't claim myself, never claim myself a Chinese artist. The problem is there's a there's a standard. If you finish your art post-secondary education in China, but also you have an art practice in China, and you have shows and exhibitions already, then you move out to other country, you can claim yourself a Chinese artist. But I didn't. I wasn't an artist at all in China. So I only can tell, okay, I'm a Chinese Canadian artist because my art education finished here. So that was pretty interesting topic with other people.
That's fascinating. Now, you went to Hamilton in 2009 to study art. And what did
Yeah.
you learn there?
Oh, I studied graphic design over there.
Or graphic
Like,
design, sorry, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's art. We call it applied art.
Hmm.
So basically, finish that course, you have to go find a job, like become graphic designer. I was lucky. I stayed in Hamilton. I stayed in the same college, Mohawk College, for other 5 years. I was graphic designer in-house. So, uh, however, I quit that job because, I have 4 monitors, huge monitors, and my fancy computer and drawing tablet. I was doing something interesting at earlier, like uh, the first 3 years, I was doing a big project for the college, a 3D animation uh, VR system for showing the whole college to the students that are not in Canada yet. It's a good project, but once the project finished, they send me to another department, not department, just send me to another group of project, which I have to upload content for the website. So kind of I was upset and didn't like the job. And also it hurt me kind of a lot because the monitors and working environment. I got my shoulder pain, my headache, and my eyes lose the you know
Yeah.
normal
Makes
vision
yeah.
a
And then
lot.
you decided to come to Emily Carr and do your master's degree. And
Well,
um,
yeah, the first thought was because I haven't got any degree yet. I have several college diplomas,
like
but I didn't.
diplomas, yeah.
Yeah, the first thought was, where is a good school? There is a OCAT, there is NASCA, there is MCAR. And in 2017, my partner and I we traveled in Vancouver to see. It is a travel. It's just my vacation. And once we arrived here, we thought, oh, this is different in Hamilton. We have like half year winter in Hamilton, but here is like spring already. Lovely. And then we thought, okay, there's school called Emmy Carr. Why not? We just, started
Yes, at
to
that
do
time they
grad
had just
school.
opened their new campus, right? Like,
Absolutely. I
so you
thought it's
saw
so
this
beautiful
brand new
movie.
campus, beautiful white building.
Well, this thing is that time was the time they were moving, and
Okay.
we still saw the old campus. Uh, and then we applied Emmy Carr, but too late. we want to start 2018, but too late because the application is slightly different than other place. So that's why I started uh, at Langara College, which is good. I can have extra diploma first,
Yeah.
and then after 2 years, you study fine art program, you can automatically transfer to the third year of any car BFA program.
And I'm wondering, you know, when you came to Vancouver, um, you're from Beijing.
Yeah.
Was it, how difficult was the move to Vancouver? And there's so many Chinese communities in Vancouver. Like you have people who've been here for 5 generations in Canada, and
Yeah.
then you have people from Hong Kong. You've got people from all over China, Southeast Asia. Did it seem to you like there was a large variety of Chinese people in Vancouver when you
Yes,
came?
yes, yes. There are so many different kind of large variety. Yes.
Mhm.
Uh, People, as you said, there's people from mainland China. There's people from uh, Hong Kong, and the people from first generation many years ago, and they kind of right now they had their third generation children already or
Yeah.
fourth. So
Also
I believe
Vietnam and Singapore.
Vietnam,
Yeah.
yeah, and to me that's not a big problem. It's good to me. Like I can tell they are slightly different, but there's something familiar with me sometimes, especially food culture
Mhm.
is amazing here. Like for example, in some other cities, for example, in Hamilton, Ontario, we don't have that so many varied
Yeah, it's not as
food
Asian. Yeah.
variety. Yeah. So once I moved to Vancouver, I started to explore food, like restaurants. There's
I
seafood
was going to ask
restaurant,
you about that.
there's dim sum, right? And there's current contemporary food type just directly moved from China. Right now, there's like hot pot area, hot pot restaurants. So what I feel is uh, that is something I can learn based on the variety of choices.
Mhm.
And uh, that is called uh, diversity when you started to stand in front of many choices of restaurant in Richmond, right? Uh, but also not only the Chinese restaurant has Chinese taste, but also I believe in Vancouver, a lot of Western restaurant, their food were inspired by Asian food or Chinese food as
Yeah.
well. And for example, there's a beer bar beside me. It's called Right Track. It's my favorite place. And they have this salad, like chicken, Asian style chicken salad. What I can tell is there's sesame oil. And I can tell it. So in my memory, a lot of dishes or food cooking in my home, we use sesame oil a lot. So it just elevate a little bit flavor. It won't take over too much. Just a little bit taste. You can, oh, that's from my home. And once I tried that, I thought that's interesting that they make burgers, they make sandwiches, hot dogs, and beer. Very typical North American big
You could feel
beer
the
store.
sesame, taste the sesame.
But yeah, so
I'm
that's not
wondering, have
only
you
place.
have you ever tried Indian Chinese food?
Not
You
yet.
can go
I
up
heard about that.
you can
Yeah,
go up
not yet.
Kingsway and there's some Indian Chinese where it's
Hmm.
food from India, but it's made by Hakka
Yeah,
people who lived in India, but they were
yeah.
from their ancestry is Chinese. Are there any issues of stereotypes or generalizations that you've encountered in Vancouver where people look at you, they see, oh, you're Chinese, you must be this, but that's actually false?
I haven't had any stereotype
Yeah.
situation directly with me yet.
Hmm.
I've heard about some people had some moment kind of embarrassing, but I feel no, I didn't get anything like that bad yet. But in Hamilton, you can feel when they talk, they didn't know your culture and they will ask questions, which is I understand. Even like, for example, when I was in China, uh, people from different countries, for example, from France, I'll ask like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you eat every day in your home? Like, do you eat bread all day long, and like every meal you have butter or
Yeah.
cheese all the time? Actually, it's not true. Like stereotype sometimes you will create, I will create, everybody will create.
Hmm.
But the thing is, what you learn from environment, you pay attention. For example, in Vancouver, this situation is less because even in one uh, same group of people in China, like people moved from China, no matter is like long time ago or currently or 3 years ago or 5 years ago, they are from different places. And even in China, China is big. People from north, people from east, west, from south. Our culture, like food culture, are different.
Yeah, it's
Dialect,
each
language are
province is
different.
like its own country of food
Yeah. One
and language too.
once when people stay together, like in Vancouver, the culture can be transformed or merged or integrate together. Just like my art practice. Why always distinct two things, separated two things all the time? It's not necessary, right? Binary. Yeah, that's kind of strange when you want to live in a healthy society. So distinct two things sometimes, yes, they can work together, but generate conflict for sure. Once you learn me, I learn you, and I believe that that's the way everything can be healthier. And also in my art practice, that's the way I can borrow different ideas and make a new form of art to make the work more interesting.
I'm wondering about your highlights of your art. Like, what have been the most enjoyable aspects? Like, you were doing something with the Vancouver Art Gallery, for instance, on the art rental wood. Is there anything you'd like to talk about in that area, things that you've done or exhibitions you've had that really
Yeah,
made you feel good?
yeah, sure. I believe I have worked in Vancouver Art Gallery and sales for more than 3 years already. Uh, Basically, I first of all, they are amazing organization and they have big clients, film companies, bank, uh, big uh, other organizations. They want artwork and they'll go Vancouver Art Gallery first to check uh, what work are available currently, and they may rent your work or the end of the rental uh, agreement, they want to keep the work, they can purchase, pay for the work. So uh, I think I'm not the top seller, but I can tell I'm like first 10, like top 10.
Oh, that's
Uh,
excellent.
yeah, thank you. And the thing is, I believe uh, my work is a little bit different than others because I'm carrying like I have this art uh, practice from China long time ago, even just few years when I was young, uh, when I was little. So this is the learning from Impressionism work because everybody knows Impressionism from French, but in China we have this learning for applying art universities. Uh, we learn both Impressionism Russian Impressionism and French Impressionism, which is my teacher, Mr. Wang. He loves both, and and that is kind of hardcore practice every time when you go to studio. And really, the teacher will give you hard time to see, okay, this work is ugly. You cannot do that. Uh, for some perspective, you can tell that's kind of a limitation for your creativity. But still, sometimes I think opposite way. When you have a strong skill first, and then you have something to manage, and then you have the chance to forget what you know. But a lot of people talking about descale means you remove your scale from your drawer, and you don't touch that scale anymore. So, but you don't have scales first, and what you want to remove, that's the question. But anyway, for Vancouver Art Gallery, I bring my scale when I first time they accept my work was the pandemic, and I didn't have studio to use, and I didn't got any chance to do my printmaking practice at all. So what I do was walk around my place, and that little uh, building just around, not too far because I was scared of meet people on the street,
You
even I
didn't
have
want
my
COVID.
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I saw a lot of interesting corners of buildings and houses and natural elements. So I record everything and bring to home and start to do this oil painting, small pieces, just for killing the time and do a little bit recording. I mean, video record and post on my YouTube channels. Then I found, oh, okay, people are interested to watch. Like they like to watch how people like create art. And then when I start to have finish my 20 pieces, I pull everything together, and that was the time open call started, and I submit my work to Vancouver Art Gallery. And the first round, they just sent me a message, sent me an email. Yes, you are in the short list. I was like, yay! I didn't know like people still like those work, and that time was my practice was different than right now. Right now, it's more like semi-abstract. But when I started to
Was
work
it more
with Vancouver Art,
landscapes in those days because
it's
you were going
pure
out?
landscape.
Yeah, you're going
Yeah,
out in the pandemic, just looking at the land. Yeah,
very landscape.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and back and forth, there are so many people message me because I have worked in Vancouver Gallery, and they just, okay, I saw your work in Vancouver Gallery. For example, I'm the business owner for uh, wherever, and I want to see more work in your studio. And I said, sure, come to my studio. And sometimes they just directly come to my studio to buy the work. So that's why I have to say thank you for Vancouver Art Gallery. They
That's
are
fantastic.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, this is great, Kai. I can let you go now. Is there anything I neglected to ask or other points you'd like to make?
No, actually, I'm okay. Yeah, so far so good. Thank you for thank
Oh,
you for
it's my
encouraging.
pleasure. I always learn when I speak to you. So I've been speaking with Kai Liu. He's a Vancouver visual artist, and his career is taking off.